Today, our keynote speaker is an example of what it means to be passionate and have the desire to keep pushing ourselves for a change. And he passionately holds the values of service dear to his heart, and he lives throughout his life daily. Our speaker, one of my favorite people, he is here with us today, and many of you know him. He is a local figure in our community, and he was once a Wildcat himself. So please, everyone, help me by giving a warm welcome to Jahleel Vester! Woo!
Everybody's hands go! Alright! How y'all doing today? Hey, I've always wanted to do this. Alright? Wildcats on three, Wildcats on me. Ready? 1, 2, 3! Oh man, alright, just like my high school dream. Alright, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Jahleel Vester. I know some of you guys, I came to this high school back when Michael Krebin and Esvelt had hair. Just kidding, they don't have hair. They never had hair. Way to do that too. Shout out. Yes, man, this is such an opportunity. Thank you guys for having me. I'm glad to be here. And we're here today to talk about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now, we're a couple days early. Obviously, Martin Luther King Day is the 20th, but there's always time to think and reflect on the man, the myth, and the legend. So, I've got some questions for you guys, and I'm going to ask for some volunteers, all right? So, when you think of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., what comes to mind? When you think of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., what comes to mind? You just give me one word. I have a dream. I have a dream. Yes, sir. I have a dream. Confidence. All right. When you think of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., what comes to mind?
Equality.
Equality. I love that. Hey, give her a hand. Equality. Just one hand. Good. Good. Equality. I have a dream. Equality. When you think of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., what comes to mind?
Civil rights.
Civil rights. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got some educated Wildcats. I love it. Civil rights, equality, I have a dream. These are all things that a ton of people realize, recognize, and this is really what this day is about. This is why we're here. We're here to remember. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself. All right, I was born in Jacksonville, Washington. Jacksonville, Florida. Whatever, all right. Here's Jacksonville, Florida. All right, that is my origin. Both of my parents were military. We moved to Japan shortly after. My brother was also born in Jacksonville. We lived in Yokosuka, Japan for about 7 years, and then we came up here to the beautiful Whidbey Island. All right, we got here about 2001, 2002. I got some pictures up there. Wrestling, I gotta credit my guy, Mr. Christopherson. If you know Mr. Christopherson, give him a hand. All right? So, I was all ball, okay? All basketball. This guy saw that I was scrappy. Me and my brother, we do everything together. We started wrestling, and just loved it. So I was able to work with these guys. I love my coaches. And they helped me, get third in state by my senior year, and it was just such a good time. Loved the sport. I did it in college. Both my brother and I, we went to Iowa, Central College in Iowa to wrestle. So many good memories there. So many good times there. And actually, he is right now in Quantico, Virginia, learning how to become a Marine. So he's at OCS right now. So prayers up for him. Hoorah! Thank you. All right. Next slide. Just a few more photos. You probably know my sister Jessica Vester. Anyone? That's awesome. So she's killing it at SPU, and you might know, or some of you come to know, my other sister who is in this room, Lillian, over there. Okay. All right. Give a little shout out. Big brother love. All right. So I'm very proud of my family. I love my family. And hey, there's my pops over there who started coaching or refereeing wrestling this year. All right. So that's just a little bit about me, all right? But we all have a story. And a recurring theme in our talk today Our current theme in our talk today is going to be your story and how you're going to write it. You see, my chapter of high school is done. It's written and it's over. Okay? I can't go back. If there was something or someone I could have helped back in high school, I can't go rewrite that chapter of my life. Neither can I for college. That chapter is done and is written. But you guys are writing your chapters today. And I want you to keep that at the top of your minds as we go through this talk. But before we get further into Dr. Martin Luther King, I want to give you a little piece of my story, which has to do with Crescent Harbor Elementary and Skagit Valley College. Those are two random locations, but we'll tie it in, I swear, okay? So my father helped my brother and I get into, become entrepreneurial because we had a paper route business. All right, and so we were doing a paper route, and we serviced all the homes by Crescent Harbor Elementary, and then we're moving up into the homes by Skagit Valley College, and we're expanding our territory as, you know, entrepreneurs do. That's what we do. We expand our territory, try to make some more money, you know, make some more paper, literally. All right? And so I'm out there and I'm going to learn this new paper route, and I'm standing by a stop sign because my buddy Jahleel and his father, they're going to pick me up, they're going to teach me the new route, I'm going to teach it to my brother and then to my family. All right, that was the plan. And then we're going to, you know, go hard and make a lot of cash and take over the world. That was the plan. And so I'm out there and I'm standing by this stop sign, just waiting. All right, about, you know, 2 minutes go by, 3 minutes goes by, kind of thinking Jahleel and his dad forgot about me, but I'm just waiting by the stop sign, you know, for him to come get me. It's just an obvious point to get picked up. And I see this lady, this elderly white lady, kind of peering at me. Her head was kind of poking out like a chicken in a nest, you know, just. Yeah, that guy over there. And I'm like, kind of looking over, make eye contact, look away, look at anything else, and then I kind of look over again, and there she is. Looking at that little black boy by the stop sign. And I'm like, okay. And yet, have you ever tried to like avoid eye contact with someone and then you keep making it, right? And it's just like, oh, this is so awkward. Like, dude, pick me up. Like, let's go. And so I'm just kind of really wigged out by this lady that keeps staring at me. But Jahleel and his father finally come to the rescue, pick me up, and take me along. They start saying, hey, all right, so this house, they get a paper. They get a paper. It was like Oprah. But they don't get a paper. Sorry, man. But he gets a paper. She gets paper, right? These are the houses that get paper. And then we see these red and blue flashing lights. And then we hear, please pull over. So like, okay. So we pull on over to the side of the road. And policeman comes up. I'm in the back. Khalil's in the passenger seat. Khalil's father's in the driver's seat. And the policeman says, sir, we had a call in the neighborhood. We just want to make sure the area is secure. Can you please open your trunk? Khalil's father is really confused. Sir, what's going on? We're just doing a paper route. We're just teaching the young man a paper route. What is there a problem? Sir, just doing my job. Will you please open your trunk? So he seems to take a moment to think about how he's going to respond. He has two young black men in the car. He gets out of the car. He opens the trunk. Sir, it's just newspapers. All right, thank you for your time. All right, have a nice day. I'll be on my way. Officer drives off. And there are some times in your childhood life where you forget, you know, your parents said, we have taken you to Disney World. You were 3. It counts. I said, no, it doesn't. I don't remember that. Take me to Disney World, Dad. I was 3. But then there are times that you don't forget. There are times, and I'm sure all of you have them, different pivot points in your childhood that you will not forget. And that was one of them. I didn't understand why we got pulled over. I couldn't think, who could have called the cops? And you know, never really forgot that moment. But before we bear into this elderly lady that was probably scared, maybe she had that cue, You know, the dude's like, all right, time to get that haircut, line up on point, make sure you got that fit. I got to maybe put 3 more rips, maybe 5 more rips in my jeans to make them cool, all right? Getting ready for that school dance. So we're driving around Des Moines so we can get a haircut. And of course, now let's be real, we're in Iowa. We're going to find a haircut facility that we can trust, all right, from people that have probably cut our kind of hair before, if you follow me. All right, so it was a long and hard search, just to put it that way. But we found a spot. So we make our way to the barber shop. We get in there, we're in the lobby, and start watching some Sports Center, because, you know, that's every barber shop's got Sports Center. And then I hear one of the barbers telling a little story to his guys. He said, yeah, man, so I was in the bar the other night, and there's this dude, he had a problem with him, about to have a meeting. Like, look at these guys, look at them, okay? Let's just be straight up with each other. And he's like, well, I mean, dude, maybe, let's just see what happens. I'm like, let's see what happens. You know, I'm not trying to wait here to see what happens. Like, let's just see what happens. I'm like, all right, we're gonna see what happens. We come back to the barber shop, and it looks like they might have just got done with their meeting, not quite done, I'm not sure. And then these 2 white ladies walk in with briefcases. Now I'm really confused. Okay, what is going on? Like, are they part of the plan? Like, what is this? They open up their briefcases, handing out pieces of paper. And then this is really, what really caught I was just like, man, this is where I just slapped myself in the face. She said, all right, so now we're going to teach you a couple of things about life insurance policies and how you can cover your kids with Afline. I'm like, good night. And you know what? But I want you guys, slide please. I want you guys to take note, okay? I made the same mistake as that elderly lady. And I'm black. And they're black. All right? We are all people, we make those judgments, and I kind of fell into it. All right, I kind of fell into it. I heard a piece of a conversation. I took a snapshot of what these guys looked like. I heard some of his story, and I just knew that they were going to plan some kind of counter strike. All right, and they're getting Aflac for their kids. Okay, and so next slide, please. But again, brother came in clutch. He made a difference when he said, maybe that's true, but let's see what happens. Maybe that's true, but let's see what happens. We will all make judgments, all right? First impressions matter. Why do you guys think I'm wearing a suit today? All right? I'm trying to impress you guys. Is it working? I don't know. We'll find out, maybe. But we're all making judgments, all right? But we have 2 choices. What's up? 2 choices. All right, we can either act on our judgments, or we can leave space for grace. We can give the benefit of the doubt. We can let that person prove us wrong or right. Because you might be right. Sometimes you might be right about how you judge someone. But give them the benefit of the doubt. All right? Innocent until proven guilty. And that's what Dr. King was about. All right. Now, let's go ahead and listen to this little video, a short clip, a little quick biography of Dr. King. Yes, amazing. An inspiring man, very inspiring man, and he did it with a lot of hard work. Nothing that he did came easy. Nothing that the civil rights activists did came easy. So, a few fun facts. Did you know that Martin Luther King Jr. was actually born Michael? His name actually was changed to Martin later in his life. There was also another little story about Dr. King that I learned during my research, which is kind of crazy. So at the age of 12, there was a parade going on in his hometown. He wanted to go. His parents didn't want him to go. So he did what a lot of you guys do. He snuck out. Yeah, there's supposed to be more laughs. I need to laugh. Can you laugh? Okay, that's fine. All right, anyway. Stop calling me out. All right, my bad. So he snuck out, but while he was away doing his thing at the parade, his maternal grandmother, who he was really close to, died from a heart attack. And when he got back home, he found out about this. He was told the news, and he blamed himself. He thought that because he snuck away, because he disobeyed his parents, his grandmother died. He held himself responsible. So what Dr. King did was, or young King, went upstairs to the second-story window and jumped. Young King tried to kill himself at 12 years old, suicidal. His mother, Alberta Williams King, was killed, assassinated. There was a man that thought that Christians was his enemy, and so he went to the service of Martin Luther King Sr. with the intent to take out King Sr. But because Martin Luther King's mother was closer to him, he killed his mother. He lost his mother to violence at a young age. Another fact about Dr. King is that he was reluctant to leave. You know, we see him as this great man, this icon, leader of the civil rights movement. You would have thought, oh yeah, he totally wanted to do that. He did it himself, and he is fully responsible for the greatness that he became. But that is not so. He was actually reluctant to leave, and it wasn't until Rosa Parks took her stand, or her seat, rather, that catalyzed the leader of Dr. King that we know and love today. He was reluctant. He was hesitant. He didn't want that publicity. He didn't want that attention. He knew that there was a lot of problems. He wanted to make a difference, but he wasn't sure if he wanted to be the leader of that movement. But then he got inspired by a lady that was tired of sitting in the back. All right? And the last little fun fact about Dr. King is that he suffered with depression throughout most of his adult life. And that after the speech at Lincoln Memorial, the famous I Have a Dream speech, he went through a big swing of depression because he started to realize how much farther they had to go. And it hit him. And there's so many people, I'm sure, in this room right now that suffer or battle with something. Whether it be domestic abuse, depression, anxiety. All right, next slide. Got some statistics. Oh, actually, no, we don't. I'm ahead, slide ahead. But Martin Luther King was a normal man. I do want to emphasize this point, that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a very normal man. And what's more normal than sitting in a hospital bed, all right? You can see, he was a man, he was a person. And I think we really can glorify this guy because, of course, he has a day, we celebrate him every year. Some of us get a day off, and it's really great, and we'll go to a barbecue. But we have to remember and reflect, look, this guy was a person that saw a problem and made a difference. Okay? This picture is actually taken of him after the first assassination attempt on his life by Zola Curry. He was doing a book signing. And as he's doing that book signing, he's signing those books for people. They're all excited. Oh, I got to meet Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This is so great. And then this lady comes up. Her name's Zola. And Zola said to him, are you Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? He says, yes, I am. And she says, I've been waiting to see you for a long time. And then stabs him. And had that shiv been an inch farther, Dr. Martin Luther King would have died before he ever was able to give another speech. So, bless the Lord, he didn't die. But look, this guy was a normal guy. And people trying to kill him. He's got all kind of hate mail coming in. He's a human being. Next slide, please. A few statistics. On average, 129 people commit suicide every day. 264 million people have reported globally of battling with depression of some level. And in the US, according to this FBI report, 2018, there were over 1.2 million violent crimes reported. And that's not all crimes. There's a lot more crimes in general, but violent, like domestic abuse. And those are just the ones reported. So many go unknown and unseen. Dr. King lived through some of this stuff. He tried to commit suicide. He was depressed. His mother was killed. He's a normal human being that saw a problem. And let's break down how he made a difference, all right? Slide, please. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so getting ahead of myself here. But you can look at our time. Honestly, I just Google searched some things that are going on. So this slide was pretty easy to make. You know, we have this Iran issue going on with Trump. We've got the koala bears. We've got the kangaroos, the wildfire in Australia. We've got the Ukraine plane that crashed. And most importantly, Prince Harry and Meghan are stepping back from the royal family. No! They want to be financially independent and start their own clothing line. Sussex wear, of all things. So, we really, what are we going to do about Prince Harry, guys? Come on. Oh, God. Next slide. But in all this, with everything that is going on, we can make a difference. Play this video, please. I kid you not, guys. I was doing some research. I saw that video. I said, ooh, 1 liter. Ah, come on now. I'm sorry, I just got pumped. All right, slide. What slide are we on? There it is. 1 single leader, 1 person. Dr. King was that leader of his day, but what about you? All right? So, the point, the actions that we take will determine the difference we make. The actions we take. We cannot just dream about something, we've got to do something. Don't just talk about it, be about it. We've heard that saying, I've heard that saying at least all my life. All right, see a need, fill a need. All right, see a problem, be a solution. What if you started a nonprofit, a GoFundMe? All right, what could you do to make an impact? Could you be that 1 leader? All right, slide please. Actually, no, go back. Can you go back? I'm so sorry. My man Simba, all right? I watched Lion King like religiously back in the day, okay? And Simba was something special because Simba, he held himself down and blamed himself for the death of his father, and it wasn't even his fault. Then he found some friends, and those friends were kind of special. They might have been, they were doing some grubs in the jungle, doing some grubs. And they said, Hakuna Matata, screw it, means no worries, no problems. They have these problems out there, we're just gonna stay in this jungle and eat our grubs, all right? But it wasn't until Simba was confronted by his father that was in the stars. And he told him, look inside yourself. You're more than what you have become. There is more to you. You can be greater than what you are. And I just had to throw up young Simba because, who loves the Lion King? Can I get a yeah? Yeah! Love Lion King. I like that. All right, slide please. All right, we can keep it moving. All right. Slide. Yes. So the actions, what actions can you take today to make a difference? This is the question I really want to just beat into your head. If you leave and you forget everything else I said, ask yourself that question. Remember this question. Slide. My favorite quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Really, all kinds of people look to seek fulfillment in many different areas of life. But ultimately, what you can do for someone else is by far going to be more fulfilling and more thought-provoking, and just your impact is going to grow when you can help someone else. And that's just human nature. All right, slide please. So now we're going to look at how Dr. King made his difference, all right? He made an observation, he made a decision, he took action, he had a team, and he had unshakable resolve. I'll explain it and how he did it in this next slide. Talking about Bull Connor. So Bull Connor was essentially the Lex Luthor to Dr. King's Superman, all right? He was the Joker to his Batman. He was the epitome of racism in the South. Bull Connor was the adversary, okay? He was the bad guy. He was a commissioner in Birmingham, Alabama. And before we had all these, you probably heard of the dogs getting out there and the fire hoses that were used on the nonviolent protesters. But before the civil rights activists turned their sights to Birmingham, Alabama, they were in Alberta, Georgia. And we don't hear about Alberta, Georgia too much because nothing really happened there. They couldn't gain momentum. They didn't get the response that they were looking for, and a lot of them, quite frankly, really ended up leaving Alberta feeling depressed and just downcast. They said, what's the point? This was, we've kind of been trying to gain some momentum. We're fighting, we're struggling here, and Alberta was a flop. So then they said, look, we've got to take on a bigger challenge. And there was no greater challenge than the challenge that was in Birmingham, Alabama, where segregation and racism was at its highest peaks and strength. All right, so they came to Bull Connor's territory. Bull Connor is the one, he was the commissioner, and he had it within his power to start using the firemen to use hoses on the nonviolent protesters, thinking, yeah, let me just do this. If I can hurt them, I can stop them. And then he got the dogs on him. All right? Then he put them in prison. Men, women, and children. No one was safe. But the real heroes were not just Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The real heroes were the people that continued to get out there and march and get hosed down and get bitten up. And they were normal people. And they had unshakable resolve. Because they were not going to go another day seeing the problem that was so heavy on their heart unsolved. Next slide, please. He had a team, all right? These guys were the heroes. The unknown and the unnamed, they were the heroes. So if you ever start thinking about, how will I really make a difference? I don't have enough Instagram followers or a platform to be able to speak. You can speak today. You can look to your right. I want everyone to turn to the right now. You see that person? Turn to your left. Okay? All right, now look back at me. All right, I feel like an Old Spice commercial, but your influence starts there. All right? Your influence starts there. There is a unity in diversity. I've heard it said that one of your history teachers likes to use the analogy, not a melting pot, but more of a mixed salad. We are a generation of people that is just so diverse, and we should celebrate that diversity. All right, and that's what Dr. King did, that's what the civil rights activists did, and that's why they ultimately claimed the victory. Because in 1964, the Civil Rights Act was signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson, and that was a major win for the civil rights movement. All right, next slide. So my question is, who is that Bull Connor in your life? Or what is that Bull Connor? What is that problem? What is that problem that needs fixing? What is that thing, that issue that keeps coming up that you said, this is such a problem, this weighs on my heart. And it's going to be different. It's going to be different for all of you because you're all unique. You all have different skill sets. And you all have different things that may weigh on your heart. But what are you going to do about it? That's the real question. So last slide. I want you guys to remember to leave space for grace. Yes, we all judge. But you have a choice on how you act on those judgments. And don't wait to make an impact. All right? Just do it! All right? Where's that video? I love it. So, my last request, everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. Alright? Now, if you're comfortable, put your right hand on the shoulder of the person to your right. If you're comfortable, some of you are squirmish, I understand. And put your left hand on the person to your left. I want you all to see, we are all connected. If you fall, someone will fall. Alright? But if you stand tall, someone will stand tall. Alright, I like this. Let's get a lean going. And my last request, Sponsored by, hey, it's crunch time.